morning. I want to welcome everyone to the Solid Edge ST5 What's New webinar given by SIS today. My name is Greg Walker. I'm a director here at SIS, and I'm joined with Cecil Pruitt, who will be delivering most of the content today. This webinar today is for our customers only, so we do have a large group on the call, so everyone will be in a muted. However, we do have a question bar there, and you can ask a question anytime along the way. What we will do is we'll compile the questions, and then at the end, send an email out to everyone that was on the call with the questions and our response to it. The other thing is we'll have our contact information at the end. Cecil will be more than happy to have a one-on-one call afterwards if there's something specific you guys need attention to. So again, we're here to help you. We want to make sure that you understand what's coming out, what's out in ST5, and to make sure you have a good understanding of some of the new capabilities to make you more productive, more efficient. Also, if there's a little time at the end, we do have a couple poll questions about some future webinars, so you can be thinking about it now. We are curious if you guys are interested in a simulation webinar, CAM Express, and Insight XT. These are things that we would take a deeper dive in and be able to show you more capability and to see if it applies to each of your own organizations. All we're doing is asking the question today, and if you're interested, we're going to be putting these together sometime in the future. So hopefully you can hang out for the entire webinar. We want to present a lot of information to you today, and hopefully it will answer a lot of your questions. ST5 is now on Maintenance Pack 2, so most of our customers are switching or are in the process of switching as it's stable and it seems to be working nicely. So with that, let's get started. Again, there is a question button on your GoToWebinar that you can ask questions, and we will tally that and respond back at the end. Oh, sorry. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to, for those that don't know, SIS has quite a bit of capabilities besides just the CAD/CAM CAE support that we do with Siemens. We're really divided into 4 sections. Part of our business focuses on digital data capture for both reverse engineering, space configuration, factory layout, that type of thing. It's basically whatever you need to get to 3D, we address, and we can do that. We can prototype. We can get everything from basically 2D or as-is condition in real life into a 3D environment. The other thing that you guys are more familiar with is our capability and our focus on the engineering analysis. So the CAD/CAM CAE, we are pretty much a Siemens shop. So Solid Edge, NX, FEMAP, Team Center, basically the entire product line our team supports. We work with Siemens. We've been a partner since 2000, and we work heavily in the Mid-Atlantic and also with the Navy team specifically. So we have a lot of Navy background and experience. When you go down to the lifecycle management aspect, that's where we talk about Team Center Express, Insight, and Insight XT. Insight XT is a new capability with Solid Edge ST5, and we'll touch on that today. And we have some of our current customers that are evaluating that and looking to move to that immediately. So we're very excited about what that brings to the table and how Siemens is really focusing on, a solid SharePoint solution for PDM and data management for Solid Edge customers in the mainstream engineering world. The fourth area is our sensors and systems integration. And most of our capability here has to do with government contracting and government research and development projects that we work with other customers, and entire technologies and our capability and our understanding of 3D and robotics and how we tie that into solutions for the Navy. We have a lot of capability here on unmanned naval vessels and integrating all that technology that's very similar to what you guys are probably more familiar with the drone aircraft capability, except we do it on surface ships. And the other thing is these ships are unmanned, so they're totally mission controlled and programmed, and they go out and do their autonomous activities. So we basically, when you look at our company, we have a lot of different capability, but the glue that holds it all together is really 3D and our understanding of 3D and how products behave and how we can control that, and which really ties into the lifecycle management of products. So you can see how the Siemens products themselves can help support companies like SIS. And that's what we're really here talking to you about today is how ST5 can help you guys out. So for those that you don't know, all of you guys are our customers. Some of you are brand new customers, and some of you guys have been with us along the way. We've been a partner since 2000. So back in the UGS, Unigraphics, EDS, UGS, and Siemens PLM life cycle, we've been involved in that. And we're really excited where Siemens is right now and the importance that they put on SIS as a partner, and how they're really going to a partner-driven sales and support model. So that's why it's critical when you look at the Mid-Atlantic and where we're focused and where we are and how we're there to support you guys and to help your business grow. So, you know, not only the Mid-Atlantic, but also we're a key partner for DOD and specifically the Navy. We do have a GSA contract for our federal customers, so Siemens relies on us to do a lot of that business for them. We're not just there, you know, even though my focus is on sales activities, but, you know, I have oversight on support. So SIS provides first line of support for all you, as well as coordinating efforts through GTAC, especially when there are software type issues that need to get resolved. A lot of times the problems are training, and SIS is there to help you navigate through those issues so you can become more enabled on solving your own problems. Also services, one thing under training too. So under training, SIS offers from a solid edge perspective, you know, the 4-day fundamentals class. Typically we hold that somewhere localized to each of you, but sometimes we can't do that. And other times companies require us to come on site and train and complete staff. So we have that capability, and then we will have these scheduled throughout the year at different locations. So, you know, please go to our website, and we have a full list of our training activities. And if in doubt, call your local sales rep, and they can hook you up and try to work with you to get something set up. On services, we do a lot of mentoring. We offer best practices. We actually do modeling and FCA and all those other kinds of things that might supplement your activities. So if you have a project going on and you're in between hiring a new person, you can certainly call SIS and see if we have the bandwidth and the bench power to help you move along. We've done quite a bit of that. And then the other thing is problem solving. Our guys can come in and look at what you're doing and help figure out how Solid Edge or maybe another product can help solve your problem. You've all invested in this solution, and we want to leverage it as much as possible to make you more efficient. We want to make, you know, enable you to become experts in it, and more importantly, when you look at that last bullet I have there, from a business development standpoint, we want you guys to make more money and be a better business with the product and the investment that you've made. So when you look at our consulting and BD, we look at that. We typically will work with either your business development or more at the executive level to figure out, you know, how we can tie your capability into other opportunities. Many times we're offering a whole new product line that brings in an entire new product line for you guys. So it's not just a cost activity for you. It's really, you know, how do I open the gates to get into more revenue? And synchronous technology is a great example of how that can enter you guys into different areas with multi-CAD requirements, and we'll touch a little bit on that later. So anyway, I wanted to give you a little bit of background on that, and now we're going to really get into the ST5 and what's new in ST5. these are the really bullet points that we're going to address today. ST5 is now really a mature product. Synchronous technology came out with, when it came out with ST1 after version 20, and it wasn't really a mature product. It was a great idea, but you had to figure out which way you were going to go, and it didn't work with sheet metal, and there are a lot of other constraints. Now it's really a mature model, and companies are working in this dual environment, and they're figuring out when and where to use it. Sometimes it's still not the best fit, but in most cases it is, and the people that are adopting it are really seeing the benefits for that. We're also going to talk about the new thermal analysis, and we have some examples there, and we're going to go through that capability. Simplified drawing and the documentation process. So, even though we're working in a 3D world, most companies are requiring documentation and drawings, and in many cases that's your deliverable either with a part or to put back to your customers. So we can't underestimate the value of continuing to improve that capability. And then finally, when you look at this release, there's over 1,300 productivity enhancements. Less keystrokes, easier way to do things, things like that. So we're going to cover some of that today, and that really is a theme moving forward with Siemens, because in every release, most of the improvements in the release capabilities are driven by people like yourself. And on my last slide today, I'm going to remind everyone about Solid Edge University that's happening in June. It's a great venue for you or a designated person in your organization to attend. It's really a national/international user group that will have an environment of all the key development people and business people around Solid Edge and the Velocity program. It gives you visibility to talk one-on-one to these people and really network with other customers. SIS will be there, so we'll be able to hold meetings and get you set up to the right people that you need to talk to. So I really encourage you, and on the last slide I have that date out there, and you can ask for additional information. So with that, I am going to transfer this over to Cecil and have him get into this stuff with you guys. Cecil, are you there?
I am here. Well, good afternoon, gentlemen, or almost afternoon. It is approximately 11:44, and I've got about an hour to show you all 1,300 improvements. Well, maybe I'll just try a few. I am really excited about ST5. ST5 has been out for a few months now, and if you haven't upgraded, well, you need to go ahead and do so. And I know that that's a standard pitch, but the facts are the facts here. ST5 has a lot to offer. The ST4, well, simply just upgraded to or migrated to extra functionality. I'm going to go ahead and push through a couple of slides, and then I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to rapid fire you through some minor demos and then end up on some major in-depth demos. Trying to keep it interesting here. If you are not a synchronous user, then hopefully you and I have at least talked so that you understand that everything doesn't have to be synchronous. But, to not take advantage of some of its capabilities would be doing you a great disservice. And ST5 is just one more reason why to take advantage of the new capabilities. Within ST5, we've introduced some new functions that you might not have ever seen before. For example, now we have included something called multi-body modeling. If you've ever encountered a file from another product, maybe even NX, where they have put multiple bodies inside one file, well, guess what? Now we have that capability also. And not only that, but we've pushed it up a notch so that we can even take multi-bodies within a single file and publish them out into assemblies. Very useful tool. I've even used that myself lately on some custom projects. You now have capabilities of being able to edit many procedural features from the assembly itself. No longer do you have to double-click or in-place edit into a part just to make a simple change. We've introduced the new slot feature. Everybody has been asking for this for, I guess, years now, but now we have it. The slot feature, very powerful, very powerful. Has both negative and positive features. When I say negative, I mean we can do both counter bores and also boss type features within our slot command. Very nice feature to add. We've now even introduced hole recognition. I'm very excited to show you this one. This ups the ante on product conversions, being able to do a translation from a non-solid edge part over to a solid edge part, and being able to recognize the holes as they come in is priceless. It's awesome. This is a unique tool that I've been wanting for a while, but I hadn't heard a lot of chatter about. But when it came up, I was so enthused. This is our new geometry inspector and the optimizer. So whenever you go out and you receive that, say, Pro-E file that has missing surfaces, or that CATIA file that has bad geometry in it, and you get so frustrated about that import that just wouldn't fix itself, well, guess what? Especially, I really like the geometry inspector. It heals the part and makes it a functional tool that you can get into and start editing quickly. I'm excited to show you that one. We've now introduced more ways for dimensioning. So in the past, we had the ability to dimension to intersections and to theoretical intersections, and now we can actually dimension to the actual tangencies of such things as sheet metal parts. I also am going to be pleased to show you that we can now adjust our dimensions symmetrically. Very cool stuff to show. So with that said, a couple more here. I don't know a lot of people that have begged for this, but as I've started to examine the use of this tool, I can see where some people can get excited. We now can add web networks as base features. We don't have to have a pre-existing feature to add in a web network, which is kind of cool. So with that, what I want to do is I want to shoot off some really quick product demonstrations, and then we'll come back and we'll do some things like steady-state heat transfer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over to my solid edge. Now I've got some parts already lined up because, like I said, we want to try to make this as within the time frame as much as possible. This is, of course, something that you would normally see within the sheet metal environment as a contour flange. And whenever we think of this, we think, oh, well, if I had to do this as a contour flange, then I would probably have to get rid of these corners. Or worse yet, maybe I want to keep the corners. So how would I get this done? What if I needed to do this inside, a part environment instead of the sheet metal environment, which is kind of like where I'm at. So it's not the typical runaround that you would go through in order to get this part. It could be just as simple as reaching up, choosing web network, grabbing a chain, determining both your thickness and your depth. Maybe we'll make this guy, what do you think, 5 millimeters thick? And we'll make this guy go out, 20 is fine by me. Now we have a synchronously created part that goes into that in-between state where we would be thinking about sheet metal, but in reality, we really wish it were something different. And of course, with the sketches there that had dimensions on it, If you didn't know already, within the synchronous environment, those dimensions absolutely transfer over to the part environment. So as you can see, they are very much so editable. And if I were to reach over here to the, maybe I'll reach over here to my edit both directions and show you what that's kind of like. Kind of something interesting to get your appetite going. But you know, I heard that I heard Greg make a mention of someone saying maybe solid edge synchronous might not be right for you at this moment. And with that said, the hairs on the back of my neck kind of prickled up, and I said, well, wait a second here. And I want to show you a real world example. Specifically, I have a CATIA part. This CATIA part, of course, you know, they make no distinction between sheet metal and part. I'm going to go ahead and open this fellow up. And as I open him up, I'm going to bring him into, say, the solid edge sheet metal environment. And as I open this fellow up, I want you to take a look at the problems that are here. You might think, well, what problems, Cecil? Well, this looks like a very typical piece of sheet metal. No big deal about it at all, right? Well, it's got some problems. First of all, if I were to reach in here and do my typical convert to sheet metal, I'm going to end up with errors. I'm going to reach over here and I'm going to say transform to sheet metal. Grab it, and it's going to tell me, hey, there's some non-sheet metal faces that have to be removed. Well, where in the world would that be? After examining the model that this came from, I looked and I saw, holy cow, there's a countersunk hole that's transgressing a bend. That's not going to unfold. Not only that, but I also noticed that, hey, this bend is not quite what I want. So solid edge with synchronous gives us tools that we can come in and make very quick modifications to. So I might reach in here and say, hey, you know, I really wish that this face well, let me try a perpendicular. Let's grab this face and make him perpendicular to this face. That was a very, very quick resolution to this. And from here, we could, of course, you know, change it, modify it, do whatever we need to do. The other problem, as I said before, was this hole. This hole, once more, let me go ahead and say transform to sheet metal, and it's going to tell me again that I still have this problem. But this hole is transgressing this, this bend. What can we do about it? Well, you know, if you were working inside the synchronous environment, you have a solution. If you were working in the ordered environment, well, guess what you got to do? You either have to delete it and put it back and then repair the bend, or you have to live with the fact that you can't unfold it. I want you to watch what happens in the synchronous environment. I'm going to go ahead and grab this hole, and I'm going to move it. Now, you might think, well, okay, he can move it. I'm going to move this guy over 0.01 inches over, just so that it gets off of the bend itself. And if I were to, you might be seeing a little bit of a jaggy edge. Let me go ahead and pump this guy up a little bit so you can see it. So now you can see that it does not transgress the edge. Not only does it not transgress the edge, but look at my bend. My bend does not have an arc in it anymore, meaning that the bend healed itself, and you won't get that inside order. So with these two modifications, I could come back now and say, you know what, let's go ahead and let's do that transform to sheet metal. And sure enough, within one click, I went from a hopeless part to a tab and 3 flanges. Now, obviously, we want a little bit more, right? So from here, I'm going to reach back over here and say, you know what? I sure would like some holes in this. I'm going to choose to recognize holes, and look what I've got. I hope you can see this. It is recognizing these holes. It even recognized the taper hole. Go ahead and click OK. And now I have a full-featured part, sheet metal part, mind you, that, of course, whenever I choose flat pattern, I have a valid flat pattern now. So just that in and of itself is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I get several support calls where people ask, why won't it unfold? Why can't I recognize this as sheet metal? And I want to say, well, learn a little bit of synchronous and you can do this. But obviously, inside Solid Edge, we have the ability to be both synchronous and ordered at the same time. Anyway, I wanted to show that one because I thought it was really cool. But let's get more on to these rapid-fire demos here. The next demo I'd like to show you is a really cool one. Not this one, not that it's not cool, but I'd like to show you, say, this. I don't know if you can see it from your from the GoToWebinar perspective. I don't know how great the detail is as far as resolution goes, but there's a missing surface here. And this missing surface is very typical of what we might encounter whenever we import things like Pro-E and things like CATIA, where there are faces just flat out missing. What I want to show you is a cool tool that came in with ST5. I'm going to go under Inspect, and I'm going to choose Geometry Inspector. And within Geometry Inspector, I'm going to say, go ahead and analyze this part. And as it analyzes the part, it says, hey, I found two faults in here. And if I were to go in here, I could actually see it, two vertex do not, in other words, it's got some problems. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to heal itself. So as I click on Heal, and I'll do a quick close on this, now we can see that we have a valid part. That in and of itself will save you hours of surface modeling. When surface modeling comes into play, you know that you're in the advanced areas of CAD. This is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and close this fellow out, get him out of the way, and I'll show you once more. He comes up. That's not the one I want to show you, but I do want to show you this guy. If you're into surface modeling and you're wanting to, say, take something like this and heal it, because this does happen, I'm going to reach under my surfacing tools and choose our new bounded surface. Our new bounded surface has the capability of healing things both faster, and not only faster, but also with more robustness. So in this case, I'm going to reach in here and I'm going to say, you know what, full merge is good. I don't need any of these other options. I think that that's just fine. And what I want to do is I want to grab, I don't want chain, I want single. I want to grab this face, or I should say edge, this edge, and I've got an extra curve out here. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, yep, that's what I want. Now, it fixes it, and you would expect it to fix it. But if you know much about surfacing, that's probably not what you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, you know what? I want to change the faces that are tangent. Let's see, I don't want them all to be tangent. I really just want, let's see, I'll grab tangent surfaces. I don't want that one, so I'm going to go ahead and unclick him, and I will unselect him also, and now I'll just go ahead with my preview. And now I get a surface that I'm much, much more satisfied with. So surface technology, if you thought it was out of your reach or out of your range of study, it's really sitting right there at your fingertips. All right, so what have I got next? Oh, yes, definitely want to show you this. I'm saving that last one because it's something that I know that you're really, really going to want to see. Look at my dimensions. My dimensions are set. They're all not driven, of course. They're not red. They're not locked down. But what I want you to see is this. as I click on dimensions, notice I am now selecting this dimension is at the theoretical intersection of these two guys. So now as I were to change the direction on this, you'll see that, of course, we have the editing capabilities, which was what you probably already thought would be. But also look at this fellow. In the same way, he's adhering to a different intersection. And also, of course, from here we've got our what we would already think of, our height. Well, actually, that's a curved one. I shouldn't have done that one. Let's grab this fellow right here. And the thing that you want to take away from this is that we have both the ability to go one direction or the other direction, and now in ST5 we can go both directions as far as height goes, or as far as linear dimensions go. In this case, you know what? Let's see if he's going to go. Yep, he'll go. And they do what they're supposed to do. In ST5, our dimensions remember the way that we originally selected them. So, for instance, if I were to now click on this fellow, you'll notice that he's not choosing a different direction. That's the original direction that I told him to move. In this case, I chose this fellow to move this way. But if I were to now change him to go two directions, switch back over to this fellow, he remembers his direction. Switch back over here, he now remembers the direction that he was in last. This is going to be a big relief for you guys that do a lot of editing. All right. So with that said, I get to be able to come up to this fellow. Live rules. Everybody loves and also cringes at live rules. Why? Well, first of all, live rules has all these little icons. These icons, once you become familiar with them, are just easy to use. Now, with that said, I'll fumble from time to time, but one of the drawbacks from the previous live rules were you didn't know why something failed. Or if you did know why something failed, you didn't know how that you could fix it. So with that said, I want to introduce to you the new Solution Manager. These extra icons down here. So for example, I'm going to grab this fellow right here and I'm going to pull. Notice that he has a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and click to finish out the edit, and it's going to tell me, hey, with Solution Manager turned on, I've got some reasons why this guy failed. What are those reasons? Well, first of all, they're denoted by color. Look up top. The blue says, hey, I'm good to go. I'm editing, no problems. The orange says, something over here is not quite where we want it to be. And the black over here says, hey, I'm staying still. This is a grounded face. So as I do this, I might say, well, what is it that I can do? And as I move my cursor, notice the little exclamation point there. I'm going to reach over here and I'm going to say, well, now that I moved it over something that had problems, I'm going to right-hand click, and it will literally give me options. In this case, I'm going to say, well, do I want the concentric to change? No, I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to look over here and look at the linear dimension. Well, maybe so. And as I click on that linear dimension, it is going to allow me to make changes through there. So I might say, well, maybe I want to make that change. If I were to click now, let's see, let's go back on that. Let's grab this guy and say, what I would really like to do is that I would like to relax a specific dimension. So as I click on relax dimension, it will literally take the offending dimension, the one that's holding you back, and relax it so that you can finish the change. Now I go ahead and I click accept solution, and my product has now changed accordingly. And what's cool about this is that if I were to grab it one more time, it gives me the same error. And you're thinking, what? Why is that cool? Because it took a dimension that was relaxed and put it back in the lock state, which is what we wanted to begin with. So lots of cool stuff. The Solution Manager is fantastic. It has more settings than what I've shown you, but it's a great tool to figure out why it is that maybe your model, even though you told it to do something, is giving you errors, and you're thinking, well, I know I put intelligence in it. Now let me work within the rules that I set up. Excellent, excellent tool. Okay, so with that said, as far as time goes, let me see how well we are. Ooh, we're at 12:06. I've got 3 other parts that I would love to show you. Actually, let me show you a couple of 2D things real quick because I know it's important to you. I'm going to reach in and I'm going to open up, let's see, we've got, let me find that silly thing. Duplicate elements. I want to show you this. This is a cool tool that those of you that came out of the AutoCAD environment would really, really appreciate. This is, of course, a plant layout, or in this case, it's a bathroom layout. And we now have a new tool under the sketching environment called Sketch Cleanup. This is fantastic. Now, what can it do and what can't it do? If I were to click on Sketch Cleanup and look into the options, I will see that I can now do things like delete elements that are identical, delete point elements, delete lines and arcs that have a minimal distance. These are common errors that you would see inside AutoCAD. You can also clean up B-spline curves. In this case, there are a couple of rules I want to go ahead and give you if you want to jot this down. First of all, the clean sketch requires that all relationships be removed. So in this case, I have some relationships that I intentionally put in, and I really want to make sure that those are taken off. It also will leave elements if they exist on different layers. So if you need to merge your layers first, go ahead and do that. If you're not going to merge your layer, then if one line is on one layer and another line is on another layer, then they'll stay that way. But in this case, look how many lines are beneath that one line that I picked, and that's always been a problem. So how am I going to fix this? I'm going to reach over under my select, and if you didn't know it, every single button has its own solid edge ribbon bar, and the select tool is not different. So I'm going to reach under the filter for my select, and I'm going to say, hey, I would like to just select relationship handles because I really don't want to spend time trying to pick these things. Now I'm going to box it, and it finds all my relationship handles, and now I'll just do a simple delete. Wham, they're gone. Now, if you've been in my training classes before, I've told you solid edge is modal. In other words, if you turn something on, it stays on. Turn something off, it stays off. I'll go ahead and click OK. So I turn my filter back on so I can select these lines. From here, I'm going to do what I wanted to do. I'm going to click on Clean Sketch. And then I'm going to look, well, I don't know that you can see this, but down in my command prompt, it says select S to select all sketch entities. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it finds all sketch entities, and I'm going to choose Finish. Now, there wasn't a lot of fanfare in there, but if I were to zoom in now, what I'm going to see is that I only have, see if I can just choose one. There we go. I don't have multiple lines underneath me. You might say, well, how do you know that, Cecil? Well, once more, if you'd been inside a class of mine, I would have told you about the quick pick. And of course, this fellow, he has multiple lines. I'm going to right-hand click on him. Notice that he has a line here, and he has a line here. Oh, that's because they were too close together. Let me try to do this without picking the other one. Oh, no, only one line. There was around 7 lines under there. So imagine the frustration that you can avoid. Now, in this case, what I wanted to show was that this line, I'm going to my properties, is on layer 8, and the line underneath it, if I can make it happen, there we go. That line is on layer 6. So that's a valid point. And if I wanted to get rid of all the lines underneath there, I would need to combine my layers. So neat, very neat tool, especially whenever you get in those pesky AutoCAD drawings. Let me go ahead and drop this fellow right here. I'm going to show you another semi-quick, rapid fire. What I want to do is I would like to pull in, I would like to pull in, should say multi-position. Assembly, thermal. There we go, multi-position. I'm going to open up this actuator. And it's going to ask me, where do I want to start out with? I'm going to start out at a 0-degree position with this. This is a family of assemblies. And with this, if you haven't been into families of assemblies, then it's kind of cool. But now that I have it made, I really want to throw it to a draft file. What is one of the things that you've always wanted to do with families of assemblies? You've wanted to show them in their various different positions. So in this case, let me turn that on. We can see that in my table I have 4 different positions. I'm going to say new and then come down here and create a drawing from what I have. And I'm going to throw it to an ANSI draft. The very first dialogue that comes up whenever you insert a family of assemblies is which position do you want to be primary and which one do you want to be alternate. I'm going to choose 0-degree position to be primary, and I'll choose 45 to be alternate. From there, I might choose next, and once more, I want to choose what's going to be my first view. That's not my first view. That's my first view. Go ahead and close it and place it. And if you didn't know, in ST5, you don't have to reach over there to the principal view anymore, because now the principal view is automatically enabled, which is kind of cool. All right, well, I only needed one, but this is what I wanted to show you. Isn't that cool? So now we get the little ghosted images to let us know what positions are what. It's a very cool tool, especially when you have moving parts. All right, so let me go ahead and throw this guy away. Neat tool, very cool to be able to use. From here, wow, it is 12:13. Wow, I have to make this pretty quick, and I want to show you some of the best parts here. I'm going to open up something that has multiple demos within it. I would like to grab, yes, this is what I really want. Many times what you'll find out as you open in other parts, step file, and I'm going to do a quick convert on him. So I'm going to go ahead and say open him up, and I want him to be a ISO part. And as I pull him in, as he's translating in, there he goes. I'm going to go ahead and pull him out like this. Once more, this is an ideal solution that we might use to recognize holes. So in this case, I'm going to say, once more, hole, recognize holes. And here, I'm going to go ahead and make some changes before it even occurs. Notice it found both all my simples and my counter bores. So I'm going to say, you know what? I really would like to make this into a threaded hole that was 12 millimeters. Click OK. I'm going to do it to hole extent, and that looks good. Hole depth, I'm going to try this hole depth at 30. Go ahead and click OK. And what you'll see is that we have now changed the holes, even before we even pulled it in. This is fantastic, especially whenever you import in those parts from Granger and from McMaster Carr, and they come in as dumb solids that don't have the holes, the threaded holes delineated in them. Well, that's kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and say File, Save As, and I will go ahead and just save him in there. All right, I'm going to build off of this, and I'm going to open up blade auger. Now, you've seen this demonstration before. Before it goes away, look down this line right here. We have changed. I'm going to have to open it up again in order to show you. If I were to highlight an assembly, we now have automatic open capabilities whenever we deal with how large our assemblies really are. So this helps us out as far as knowing what should be simplified, what should not be simplified, what should be activated, what should not be activated. If this were a small assembly, it has different settings if this were a large assembly. Notice now on this one it inactivates all. Go back to small assembly, and this is activate all. So this helps us out without us forgetting to activate things. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this and come back. All right, so I want to show you some cool stuff, right? Hopefully I've been showing you some. One of the coolest things that I've seen inside the assembly environment now is this. If you were to reach under here, and remember, this is assembly. So I'm going to choose Face Priority Select within my assembly. And I don't know whether or not you recognize it, but there's that auger housing there. And this guy, he has 12 holes. 12 holes and not 10 like we wanted. All right, so what does that mean for us? Wouldn't it be cool if you could select a pattern? Whoa, wait. Remember, I'm in the assembly environment. And change that fellow. Let's go back over here and hold on. Oh, my change was covered up. Pull that guy over. And I'm going to change that count from 12 down to 10. I just made that change in the assembly environment. Can you think about how much time you will save yourself not having to dive into a part in order to get at one little hole or one pattern? Once more, there's a hole there. This is a clearance hole, and it really ought not to be 10 because our hole in our auger housing was 12. So I'm going to go ahead and put this guy at not 12, but at 13. And, of course, it changes the entire pattern. All this is done at the assembly level. If it is a procedural feature, you can grab it without having to dive into the part. This is fantastic news for us. All right, sitting here at 12:18, I think I can do this. Here's another great tool. The replace part has been not only not only modified, but it's been enhanced. What am I talking about? How many times have you found several different parts of the same and you've thought, man, I just want one of them to be different? Wouldn't it be cool if you could reach over here and say, I would like to find, this assembly, and that assembly really needs to be different. I'm going to right-hand click on it. I could right-hand click on the other side, or I could right-hand click here, but I'm going to go under the More dialog, and I'm going to say, hey, what is this new stuff? I've got, not only do I have replace part, but I can replace parts with standard parts. I can replace parts with parts that I want to create on the fly, and I can replace parts with copies. Ooh, that opens up a lot of doors. So now I'm going to say replace part with copy. Yes, that's the one I want to replace. So I'm replacing this assembly with a different assembly. Now I'm going to call this -1. I'm going to go ahead and say save. And now you'll see in my Pathfinder that that's been changed. That's awesome. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an edit in place. And now I'm inside the actual assembly itself. And once more, I need to make a change. I want this part to be changed. I'd love to put the logo on that. So once more, replace part with copy. And I'm going to say, yes, that's what I want. And I'm going to pull this guy out once more as my revisions go, -1. And now I have a completely different part here. Well, let's make it different now. So I'm going to reach over here and I'm going to say, I'd love to edit this fellow. Editing. And I'm going to insert a neat little part copy. And that part copy just happens to be called logo. And there's the Schmidt logo. Go ahead and choose open. And there he is. Now, I'm going to go ahead and finish him. And right now what he is that he is a construction body. If I were to click on him and choose to pull him down, I'll just pull him down about 180. Try 185. Perfect. You might think, well, that's great, Cecil, but it's a construction body. Really? We've now introduced multi-body publish and add bodies. Right now, he's not really what I want him to be, but if I were to take him and say, I would like to change you into a construction, he is now from not into a construction, but from a construction to a solid body. Oh, that's pretty cool. I now have two solid bodies in one part. Well, I don't really want two solid bodies. By the way, if I desired to, I could click on multi-body publish and make it an assembly, but instead I really just want to union the two. So if I union the two, I want to union this fellow and this fellow. They now become one part. Pretty darn cool. From here, just for the heck of it, I will reach over here and say part painter and say I would love to have here. That looks great. Close and return. And once more, close and return again. And I have a very unique middle tile here that did not take me much time at all to do. All right, very quick. This has to go quick. Not only can I do holes from the assembly, but if I were to reach in here and do something like this, I can now, whoops, you know what, almost messed up. I really want to do this right. I want to grab this face as well as this face. Grab them and say, no, I don't want to go that way, but instead I'd like to pull them to this key point. From there, I've now adjusted my piece of sheet metal from the assembly. Didn't have to do an in-place edit. So what else can I show you here? Well, believe it or not, this fellow right here, this one part, he's still stuck on face. I'm going to choose part priority, and I want to show his sketches because I've got something really cool to show you. In this part, you know what, let's go ahead and let's edit this part. So as I choose to edit the part, here I am. I want to show off my slot command. There's a line here. Go over to my home, say I would love to add in a slot. Slot works with both sheet metal and with, and of course with parts. And I want this guy to be, let's see. Let's go into options. Options need to be a little bit more than that. Let's try 18. There we go. Okay. And that looks good. I'm going to just pop him in. And now I have a slot. Excellent. So what am I going to do with this slot? Well, here I am with a slot. Wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if I could use that slot for something useful? How about Solid Edge's ST5's new path relationship? What does that do? Well, it gives us the ability to take a part, especially a part that has an axis, and tells it to mate with a part that has a path. Check it off. And now I've just added a new relationship between these two. If I were to choose drag components, grab, say this part right here. I hope you can see this. Imagine the possibilities. It is stopping motion at the end of the path. That in and of itself is awesome. It's fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, in order to get this thing going along, I need to show you a few more things. I'm going to have to drop a few other things that I wanted to show you, but I'm going to grab right over, not that assembly. I'd like to grab, where are you at? Let's see, scroll to, there he is. I'd like to grab both this assembly, that assembly, and let's see, that assembly. And what I really would like to do, providing that my reference plane is turned on, There we go. I had to get to my reference plane. I'd really like to mirror this. Oh, now you're thinking mirrored assemblies. We've seen that before. Not quite like this. So if I were to choose to mirror the assembly over here, Solid Edge immediately pops up with the dialog and gives us a little bit more capabilities. I'm going to go ahead just for time's sake and say, yes, that's what I want. And it's going to put it on the other side. And as I put it on the other side, it's going through and it's making, there it goes, and it's duplicating everything. So this takes just a second. But what I really want to show you is what comes up next. Because it is a mirrored assembly, what do you think it ought to do? If I were to grab drag component, once more, grab this fellow and pull him down, wouldn't you think the other side would need to update too? So the mirrored assembly has the ability to be captured as a feature, and in it you can make adjustments through what is called an assembly copy. It makes the overall assembly much easier to work with, and it does not produce quite as much overhead as the original mirror assembly. Thought you might like to see that. Let's see. Tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and jump to this because we are running out of time, and I would have loved to have shown you more of the multi-body, but I really want to show you my thermal. I'm going to reach over here and choose, I have simulation under thermal. Specifically, I'm going to open up something that's kind of cool. I love it when they put in real-world applications within these demos. What we've got is we have a brake assembly, a brake rotor assembly, and what I really want to do is I really want to put a simulation on it. And I don't really care about stress or the other stuff, but I really would like to see how heat dissipates. And that's a new offering under Solid Edge simulation. In this case, I'm going to reach down and I'm going to say, you know what, I just want to see the rotor and the hub because that's all we're going to analyze. And in actuality, I really don't need to even see this fellow. This is just what I need right here. And I'm going to switch over to my Solid Edge simulation. Now, things to remember. If you have Solid Edge Premium, you have this. Solid Edge Classic, you have analysis over just one part. So now I'm going to reach in here and I'm going to say, you know what, I'd really love to go ahead and create a new study. New study, and I'd like for this to be a steady state heat transfer. Notice that I can add it to linear static and linear buckling. And with this, I'm going to turn off a couple of things. I'm going to turn off generate surface results. And I'm going to say, yep, that's what I want to do. And what I would really like to do is I'd like to choose this fellow. Check him off. So he's going to be what I want to analyze. I'm going to add in some heat stress. First of all, I'm going to say, I want to add in some heat flux. I'm going to put heat flux on this face and heat flux on that face where the clamps come down, and I'm going to put in 1,200 watts worth of energy. Now, I really also need to add in some convection load on this to see how the heat dissipates. I'm going to choose convection load, and I really would like to once more grab everything, but I really didn't want to grab everything, did I? I really didn't want this face, nor did I want this face. And that convection load is about 50. And at 20 centigrade, that's around 68 Fahrenheit, something like that. And so that's ambient temperature. I'm going to go ahead with that. That looks great. And what can I do at this point? Well, I'm just going to go ahead and solve. Why can I go ahead and solve? Well, of course, I've done my meshing earlier. Go ahead and hit my solve. And this takes about 30 seconds. So as it goes and it does it steady, oh, it might be less than 30 seconds. What we get a chance to see is the fact that I really want this result to show that, well, it got there quicker than I could finish my talk. I don't want heat to go above 200 degrees. And as we can see here, it has. So as I can look at here, as I can look at my scale, I notice that 207 degrees, way out here, it's too hot. How do I know? I can hit my probe, and I can say, you know what is the temperature here? Well, once I hit probe, there it is. What is my temperature here? And it will tell me, oh, this is at 203 degrees. Down here, it is at 177. And right up here on the edge, well, it's at 206. That's too hot for me. So I'm going to go ahead and close these results, and we're going to try to make some modifications. I'm going to reach back over here under my home and say, you know what, well, under simulation, I'm going to go under those results again. No, not the results, sorry. Close my simulation. What I want to do is I want to turn off these loads for just a moment. There we go. What I want to do is I want to fix this. So because it's part of an assembly, I'm going to right-hand click, and I'm going to say I would like to replace it with a copy. So go ahead and check it off, and we're going to call this rotor 2. This is now rotor 2. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to edit it. So now I'm going to use my synchronous because this is kind of a complex part, and frankly, got a lot of stuff in it. I'm going to turn on my PMIs for this, and I'm going to make some changes. Sure enough, I'm going to change this fellow. He was at 10.75, and I'm going to make the sides thicker. I'm going to make that 8.75. And now they come in, give me a little bit more thickness. And also what I'd like to do is I'd like to make some changes to the supports. Let's see. Reach over here, and I might choose to, that's not quite what I want. Those are part of a pattern. So I don't want that one. Cut out protrusion. Let's grab this fellow right here. And I'm going to pull him in. Now, cool part is because I'm doing the edit, I'm affecting all of them. That looks cool. And then not only that, but I would probably also like to take that same plane, and I'm going to give it a little bit more support. There we go. Maybe pull this guy out. Oh, my live rules, right? And pull this guy out, not this way, but this way, probably -20. And that looks great. And now, after I've done this, I'm going to choose close and return again. I'm going to reach back over here for my loads, and I'm going to resolve again, and hopefully with better results. So as it goes to solve again, once it does it once, it goes through quicker on the second time. We're going to see whether or not I've gotten below 200 degrees as I wanted. And sure enough, I really have. Right at 197 degrees, right at the very tip. So I've done what I wanted to do, and I don't have a doctorate degree. So you can do FEA also. Those of you that have doctorate degrees, I didn't mean anything by that. So let me go ahead and let me shut down my solid edge, and let's flip through these last couple of slides because I feel like I've not given you as many slides as you need to have. The steady state heat transfer is new to solid edge ST5, and it's going to be a great tool for you. Automatic solid edge geometry preparation. This is also new inside our simulation where we can go in and simplify geometry. These are tools that you really need to have if you're going to do FEA. We can also do mixed meshes. So in other words, we can mix our sheet metal meshes with our solid meshes. Though I'm not an automotive expert and I don't do a lot of nail board, if you are in the automotive industry, then maybe we need to do a separate demonstration just for you, because we can now do nail board drawings. And with the capabilities that it has, it's fantastic. Those of you that have long tables of bills of materials, we now have tools inside the drafting environment to have it automatically create sheets for our bill of materials. Showing you the alternate drawing positions and the dimensions. Well, the dimensions there are 250 plus customer requests that were added. So those are cool also. So here, over 1,300 reasons why Solid Edge ST5 is what you want to upgrade to. Some things that I haven't shown, well, I didn't show you the fact that we now have a new barrel cam relationship. I also didn't show you that, well, I did show you the slide on 3D paths. I didn't show you the fact that we can now connect to almost virtual anything. And I also didn't show you the fact that we can now glue parts together so that they're rigid. I did show you the fact that we can set our default open size for our assemblies, and it opens up with much less time lost. Replace part, fantastic. I'm starting to use it all the time, and I know that you will also. The ability to fix bounded surfaces, awesome. The ability to do associative assembly mirroring, fantastic. Didn't show you this one, but now we can go ahead and from an assembly, we can actually do things like show assembly configurations, so that if in your assembly you have center lines shown, you can show those in the draft. And if you didn't know about this and you own an iPad, go out to the iTunes store, because the iTunes store has a free app. It's called the Solid Edge Mobile Viewer. It is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. And if you do any bit of sales or marketing, or if you go out to the floor where you're not connected to your network, this is fantastic. It gives you the ability to zoom in, zoom out, rotate, be able to see the bill of material, or I should say the structure, be able to select things, be able to see section views. All that, and it's free. So, with that said, Greg, are you there?
Yep, I am here. Thanks, Cecil. You did a great job. I know we ran a little over, but we had a lot of material, and as you can imagine, this is only scraping the surface of all the new capabilities in ST5. A lot of it is centered around flexible, synchronous technology, the simulation, which she showed you a little bit. The drawing capabilities keep improving because Siemens realizes that drawings are still a major component of everyone's daily life. And again, the enhancements that we talked about are really driven by you guys. So it's key that you guys stay involved. We didn't really talk about Insight, but that, Insight comes free right now with Solid Edge, but now with ST5, there's something called Insight XT. And that gets you a little closer to a PLM environment for Solid Edge. It really controls things at the item levels, lets you package more things together, and to really start creating some workflows that can be productive, all in a SharePoint environment, which you probably already invested with in your business. So having said that, there's a couple things I just want to end with. I talked about the Solid Edge University. Save the date down there. We've sent some mailers out before. We're going to put something on our website. Talk to your sales rep or Cecil about it. It's a very, very good use of your time. If you're committed to Solid Edge, I would strongly recommend that you send someone there or a team of people, because you'll really get some bang for your buck out of that. The other thing is we are looking to do these other 4 webinars in the future. We really want to get some input back from our customers to see, what their interest level is, so we can prioritize them. We do think that the, learning more and more about synchronous technology and how to take advantage is very key from where we are with Solid Edge. So we're most likely going to do that. But we're looking at, Simulation XT and then CAM Express. If you're integrating Solid Edge with your CAM, you have a requirement for that. We have some great stuff to show you. We have customers using it already, and it's packaged perfect for small to mid-sized customers. So with that, just want to let you know we did record this. So for some that had to jump off or couldn't make it, we will make this available on our website. We'll probably shoot a YouTube link to everyone out there. So with that, I just want to thank everyone. And we only had one question that was really about requirements. So we will send that out to everyone who attended. But if you do have additional questions, Cecil, can you go to the next screen? That last screen there. We have our email on this page. Send it to either Cecil or myself, and we'll make sure we respond to all your questions. Finally, one last thing, we do offer a 2-day update class, and if we have enough folks interested, we'll put one together, you know, in your region, or if you have enough, you want to do it on site, we can do that. So work with your sales person to figure out how we can put that together for you, because there is a lot of information. And what we can focus on is what's important to you guys and do deeper dives. But hopefully today we showed you enough to get you thinking about the new capability and to get you experimenting to see how these new capabilities can help your businesses. So with that, I will end the webinar. I appreciate everyone's time, and we look forward to working with all of you and helping you out to make your companies more successful. Thank you.